going to drug them into these other numbers. We didn't have any real research to do it, but we think it's a good idea. We see people who are dying from heart disease, heart attacks, and we're cutting them open and we're finding this porridgey, mushy, infected stuff in their artery. So we want to reduce that stuff, that cholesterol stuff. So we want to get rid of that stuff. So we're going to lower it. But there's these people called these physiologists, the ones who study function. They're pretty smart folks, and they're looking going, none of that makes sense. It's not cholesterol that's in their arteries. It's oxidized cholesterol in their arteries, different molecule. Yeah, we're going to lower it, right? Lowered it from like 160 to 120. Not really a significant result. 120 to 99. Not really a significant result. Lowered it into the 70s. Men with 4 or 5 risk factors. So if you wake up and you have Schlitz malt liquor for breakfast and you have a cigarette as you go out and you're 70 years old with previous heart attacks and then you take your diabetes medicine and your hypertension is out of control, you may benefit. Shocker. Okay? That's the folks that did it. But the folks with maybe 1 or 2 risk factors, they actually had more heart disease. They calcified more, which just came out. And we knew it anyway, but it did. So they actually, their heart disease got worse. Medscape, the data's there, okay? Let's lower it more. We're going to invent a new drug, PCSK9 inhibitors. We're going to lower that cholesterol like 15 to 20, and we're going to get rid of it once and for all. And I thought that heart attacks would go down a lot. They only went down about 20%, which is horrible. That's like 1 in 2 in 100 might benefit. Whenever you lower cholesterol, okay, except for with diet and exercise, you increase risk of 4 things. It's always a trade. And it's important because I'm touching this man on the shoulder, right? You increase risk of diabetes, heart failure, dementia, and all forms of cancer. It is always a trade lowering cholesterol. Even if it worked, it is always a trade. I've never heard a conventional cardiologist, when prescribing statin, say, listen, you need to take this as your own risk. It will increase risk of these 4 things. It's always a trade. It's such a trade to the point where about 3 years ago, the American College of Cardiology, the American Heart Association said there's no more cholesterol ranges. You know how in your labs it says these ranges? Those aren't backed by the American Heart Association. They pulled it. The reason we think is because there was class action lawsuits against people from the families where people developed dementia and all this stuff, and now they can say, we're not the ones recommending it, talk to your doctor. And it actually came out the day I was speaking at Cleveland Clinic, and I got to announce it. I didn't get the best reviews there. But yeah, so that's it. Now the problem is, it gave rise to the other side, the cholesterol myth, the cholesterol conspiracy. You know, we're lowering cholesterol because we want to dumb down the population. We're lowering it to kill off the seniors, whatever it is. This is all lies. This is not true. Yes, statins and lowering cholesterol has been oversold. It's been pharmatized like nothing I've ever seen. The information's been exaggerated and manipulated, in my opinion. But cholesterol can be very dangerous. This is not a lie. Cholesterol can oxidize. So medical doctors have a hard time understanding rancidity or spoiling. Here's a piece of wild-caught salmon right out of, Alaska. You fillet it up a little bit, you eat it, good for you. Here's a piece of farm-raised salmon that's got flies on it. One can kill you. Oxidized cholesterol, like the fats. We were talking about the fats earlier. Same thing. Cholesterol is a fat. So what I do is there is a marker, the oxidized cholesterol marker. It was developed in Scandinavia because when they just started using statins there, the depression and suicide skyrocketed. That's an area because depression is one of the things that also is linked to lowering cholesterol. Why? Because cholesterol is part of the way we make neurotransmitters and sex hormones. So we're shocked that everybody needs testosterone. Oh, we're getting rid of the stuff that makes it. So, hey, guess what? I can't have sex, but my cholesterol looks okay, but I forgot my name. And, this is what we can create. I know, you gotta laugh, but it's not cool, man. I'm 53, I don't need this stuff in my life. So anyway, the oxidized cholesterol is OXLDL. There are many labs running it around the country now. The problem is, guys like Ed solve it. because a conventional doctor does not know how to lower an oxidized cholesterol marker. It is CoQ10 that lowers it, it's curcumin. It is getting healthy leafy greens into your diet. It is getting white sugar out. Anything that spoils fats, right? Sometimes it's genetic, and I do like CoQ10 in the morning. 200 waking, 200 noon, but not in the evening, just for the record, to bring down that marker. So cholesterol can be very dangerous. When you see these books, Cholesterol Conspiracy and all that, some of that stuff might be true, but they were getting away from the point. Cholesterol can be very dangerous. We're not crazy with it. We just let it get out of control in the pharma side, in my opinion. But now oxidized LDL, Cleveland Heart Lab of Cleveland Clinic is running the oxidized LDL marker. So it's not like this is some weird alternative marker. No, top facilities are running it. And so it's just that the doctors haven't been, they give a statin and then they give good news. Guess what? Your cholesterol went down. Who doesn't like to give good news? And then you'll say, yeah, where were you your last appointment? Well, I forgot because I have dementia now because so I can't remember my score, right? It is. And I joke about it, but I did lose my father to dementia. And it wasn't courteous. It took him a piece at a time from us. And so, look, most of my patients would rather die than lose their brain. And, I don't know how to feel about that as a physician, but personally I understand that and I agree with it. So that's the thing. It's a minimum of trade, but I don't want to let this natural side that is, they're hopping everybody up. It's a conspiracy. It's this. No, it's a big profit generator, of course, and that's where a lot of it went. But that's the thing, is lowering oxidized cholesterol is an anti-inflammatory issue. It's all the stuff we've been talking about here. And that's why it's having problems like, running it. Like, why doesn't every doctor run it? They don't know what to do, with it. So that's what I think the cholesterol is. I'm sorry it went a little longer than you wanted, but I'm glad we got to cover it. It is. All right, I'll take two more questions, and then I'll be